Now you got a machine that won't stop. It'll continue to output. You know, like it's not a situation where, okay, you don't feel like creating today. No, it keeps going. So,
Wow.
you know, so it's going to be different for the music industry. It's going to be different for everything.
So
And
what's gonna make or what's gonna make an artist or a producer even stand out? Like, is
you're going to have to do something that's essentially never been done before.
something that's off the grid.
Yeah, and I think what happens here is that we have spent the last 10 years sharing sound, sharing packs, sharing MIDI files, sharing instrumentals, sharing samples, and this is what kind of created this ecosystem of everything sounding the same.
Right.
It's because now everybody is sharing the sounds, they're sharing the styles. So we've all been able to reverse engineer each other. Whereas before, you couldn't do what Timbaland did.
So everything right now is like a pre-cooked meal.
Right. Pretty much. And that's what's going to cause the demise of the music industry to AI. Is because of that. Because we've now conditioned everybody to that if it doesn't sound or feel like this, that, and the third, we don't want to hear it. So now we've put people into the perpetual loop of wanting it to sound that way. If it don't have this sound, it's not hot.
Mm-hmm.
They're not open to new shit. So they're not open to it. So now it's perfect for AI. Oh, you like cookie cutter? Okay, we can program that. Can you feed it to you?
So, but what it can also do, this could be a real opportunity for the real creativity, to really shine.
You got to get on the other side. And the other side is basically you got to get on the other side of the engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's really the thing right now. It's the prompt engineering. It's engineering the prompts that create the outputs.
Yeah.
Like you got to get on that side. So the same way that you and I would program a beat,
Mm-hmm.
we have to get on the side of programming an AI that outputs the beat.
Right. And outputs it in a certain way or a certain style, almost like to your own signature.
Yeah.
Like that the other AIs don't necessarily do. And then on top of that, you have to be very good at reinventing yourself.
Exactly.
Because once that becomes a thing and that gets thrown into the ecosystem, you got to now, okay, I got to do something else now, quick.
That's bro, but that's what I've been talking about, man. Like I don't think people really understand or really want to pay attention to like, oh, you have to be able to bring your own, bring your own flavor to what's going on right now.
Right.
If you're not doing that, how do you stand out? It's crowded. This music business situation is crowded, and it's so crowded that we see what's going on like in real time. Like I see what's going on. I see people who buying music, buying beats. You bought the beat, now what?
Yeah.
Do you know what to do? How do you get yourself to stand out from everybody else? How do you get people to even want to listen to what you have to offer? And then if it sounds like everybody else's,
Yeah,
it might help to get that initial listen. But
it might it might not stand out enough to make a difference.
Not in the
Like
long
why
term.
should we include this? We got 10 records that sound just like this. We're good on this. I always use the Outcast scenario as my my point. The way those guys were reinventing themselves for the first 3 albums. When they made one type of album and then the next album was just totally different. Like what the? This is dope, but it's not like at all. It's like a different. And then to do it again and it's only switch up. And I think that is a very good example to use when it comes to just reinventing yourself over and over, time and time again. You can't do the same thing. There's going to be a point where you have to really be creative.
I think in the Outcast case, these guys just knew what good music sounded like.
Yeah.
Like good music overall. And I think in some cases, like you got good music that's regional and you got good music overall. Like, you know, you might, you know, and you can't really reinvent yourself if you're not into music. Like you can't, like if you're not into it, you can't reinvent. Because a lot of times people would ask us, like, how are you able to make those pivot in this? Because we're able to make that pivot is because you got to get yourself deep into the music. Like, if you're not into the music that you're listening to, you can't pivot.
You got to do other shit. You got to listen to other music.
You're gonna be stuck. Like you know what I'm saying. You're not gonna understand the progressions of other styles of music. You're not gonna understand it. You're not gonna be able to reverse engineer it. All you're gonna hear is boom bap, and you're not gonna hear it any other kind of way.
Right.
Yeah. So it's important. Like so they were basically giving us the education on how to continue relevancy and how to make music timeless.
Right.
Right. Because once that sound went out, does your music fade? That's the situation. So like if you go back to some of these albums, you know, from Tribe or, you know, if you're talking about Outkast, so forth and so on, like you can continue to play those because those things continue to encompass the stuff that made music great and timeless. Right. So in order to stand out in the AI world, you're gonna have to be real good at what you do, because, you know, from what I'm seeing, they're saying basically it can pass the bar exam at a 90 percentile. Okay, this is serious. You know, this is serious. But again, when we're dealing with an AI, this particularly for ChatGPT-4, it's a language model. So anything that has to do with that type of language, like, you know, reading comprehension, summary, actionable stuff like that, it's going to win because they can do it faster than you can do it.